Farmer Road, and they graciously invited us out to interview Milton. We're going to talk about all kind of stuff today. Milton, tell us about when you was a little boy. Where'd you go to school?
Well, my daddy was a sharecropper. We moved from here to there, and I believe before I went to the U.S. Air Force in September '55, from the time I was born to that time, we moved 14 times. But anyway, I attended the University of Buena Vista, the University of Center, and 1 year at Blue Mountain.
Oh.
And I quit when I was halfway through the 11th grade and joined the U.S. Air Force. But to go back, I was born just across the Tennessee line. I think it's on a Pocahontas address, just barely above Brownfield. It's on October 27th, 1937. It was on a Wednesday. And my mama said there was a big frost on the ground that morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, that I remember her saying. But you know, the only thing I can remember, I was with Mama. But anyway, we lived with Mr. Mike Gillard, and my daddy was working for him, and we moved back to Hampton County when I was about 3 months old. And as I go on, and about as far back as I can remember anything, my dad come in from town, I guess, and said the Japs had bombed Pearl Harbor. Of course, I didn't know what Pearl Harbor was. I probably didn't know what a bomb was.
Yeah.
Of course, I found out later.
Quickly,
But I may vaguely have some memories of a few things that happened before then, but I was 5 when Pearl Harbor was bombed, I guess, and anyway, I started to school at Blue Mountain in the primary. I don't know if we still have a primary now. I started down in the primary. Then we moved on over on Dr. Tate's place, an old log house is where Dr. Adams and all his family grew up, way back out in the woods. Then I started to Buena Vista. And went to Buena Vista, I guess, on up through 1948 and 49, we moved over to the Center District. One of my first year to Center in 1949. Then in 1950, we moved back to Dr. Tate's place, and wasn't in the same house, a little better house. And went back to Buena Vista that year in 1950 and 51. We moved over to Mr. Homer Mercer's place, and also in the Buena Vista district. And in 50, was in 51, 52, we moved to Mr. Kirk Carter's over on 4th, still in the Center District. And from there, we moved to Blue Mountain, down there where Pumpkin Patch is now. Went to Blue Mountain in 54 and come back to the same place, Mr. Carter's house, and that's where I did one airport.
Life has changed a lot over the years. Of course, we got fast cars now and water in the house, and it's a lot of differences to what we had when we were young.
Yeah, we didn't have electricity until 1952 when we moved with Mr. Carter over on Highway 4. And of course, up at that time, the kerosene lamp, we had an old kerosene lantern that we always took to the storm house and with us. And Daddy, that's the first order of business when we moved to a new place and dig a storm house.
Dig a storm house, yeah.
And anyway, we grew most everything we ate except the staples like flour and lard, and we even had some of the grist mills were still going at that time, and did on up into I guess 1960s, and carried our own corn to the mill and canned. We didn't have no electricity, there wasn't no freezing. You either canned it or you had meat, not killing 2 hogs a year, you salted it down, or if you're going to preserve fruit in another way, maybe dehydrate apples or peaches. But it was a good life. We didn't know at the time, but never went hungry. And anyway, we got electricity and things moved on up from there. Never had an indoor, bathroom until I went there. I had used the one, they had them at the county courthouse here, you know, still up there, and maybe some of the service stations had them, but, even after we got electricity, we didn't have any running water for 2 or 3 years.
You know, it was a great plus to me when I got water in the house.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, these women, they know how to, how that is. I mean, you gotta have water.
Yeah.
Water in the house, that toting up a bucket, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah, draw it, we never did have to go get it from the spring, like my grandpa did. They used to walk 1.25 miles, down to the spring. Now, we had, drew water out of the well, and there's an old saying now, if you leave your faucet, if you got a dripping faucet, say in your dressing room or your sink, you waste more water in a day than your grandma used it.
That's true. We didn't use a lot because we had to wag it to the house. I tell you.
Well,
I can remember saving milk jugs and going to the well and filling them up with water and pulling them in an old wore out kid's wagon, your little red wagon, and pulling it to the house.
well, in my days, I don't think the milk jug, the old glass milk jug, somebody had a route, you know.
They weren't big enough for it.
No, most of them was quarts, I believe. Her dad, before I met her back in the 40s, he had a glass right there down here, and we still got 1 or 2 of the old glass.
Oh, really?
Yes, outside.
Isn't that neat? But it just, it's amazing the changes in our way of life. Used to, you'd ride a wagon, and I bet you rode a wagon to school.
No, I never did ride a wagon to school. Although over at Buena Vista, there was still some wagons coming in from the east part of the district there, but I have ridden on some of the old first trucks before the big buses, before the big yellow buses. They just took an old truck and built a box on it, and you had some, I guess, 2 by 10 to 2 by 12 for your seats, and I know we forget going out, take probably what's called Eddings Hill, going out over. That thing was so steep. Some of them old trucks the students had to unload and walk up the hill and get back on it. And this was before the big yellow bus. We thought that was the grandest thing it was when that big old, I believe the International, probably the first ones I remember seeing. And
Milton, you remember Mr. Early Holly used to meet us down in number 2 where the road was bad. Number 2, he was carrying an old wagon until they got that road fixed.
you're talking about the road from where we lived at one time, on the Jim Childers place.
To the
Schoolhouse. Yeah, and I'd forgotten about that.
Remember the Presleys lived up there in that big house on the left?
Yeah, and the Turner did it one time, Walter Turner and his family.
Yeah, and the Walkers lived in the next house.
Yeah.
And back then, there were large families. Now, usually a family's got like a couple of kids, but back then there were big families. Was there a lot of y'all?
No, there was 4 of us. I'm the only boy, the oldest, and 3 sisters, and we all so far still living. But anyway, I ruled the roost being the oldest and being the boy. I got things done, and I guess I won't say maybe some sisters wouldn't have learned as much as they did if I hadn't taught them.
Well, did y'all work the fields?
Yeah, we worked the fields. In we were sharecroppers, and we'd get in the field after I got big enough to follow a mule behind the plow. We'd get there just at dawn when you could see, and as a general rule, up until the point of where you might have a hard way getting back to the house, you didn't know the exact route,
Yeah.
And once a week, we'd take a bath in the old number 2 wash most of it, we'd draw that water up and set it out there 2 or 3 days in the sun, you know, and the sun would, heat, warm it up. And, I learned how to swim when I was 12 years old. And somebody said, just jump off that diving board and you have to swim. And that's what
Did it work?
It worked. It worked. And anyway, I went on and did it in fall of '55 in the U.S. Air Force. I was mainly went in the Air Force to see the world and get out of the cotton patch.
Yeah, the cotton patch, that was it.
And see the world, you know, and I'm pretty well accomplished. I got out of cotton patch. And I've seen a whole lot of this country, and I've seen a good deal of Europe, and also went to Libya and North Africa, over Gaddafi got over. Just like a little vacation I didn't have about a year ago when I left to go over there, and supposed to be on a 3-year tour duty. Where's the little girl over there? Still got the picture, one of them out there in my album. She's good enough to let me keep it. You know, history is, as he goes that old saying, is not, it's what happened, it's not what right or wrong, that was determined at the time.
That's right.
So when we look at history, we don't find, if we find the skeleton in the closet doing family research, we laugh at it, you know.
It's just there.
It's there, and that's just part of it.
That's right. Whatever happened, it just did.
Anyway, I got out of the Air Force late summer of '59, and Nancy there, she had a brother that was dating my oldest sister. And my dad lived down there very close to where Dr. South's office is down here in the railroad track. And Nancy had done, so she told me, had seen my picture in my uniform, said on my dad's TV. She had been down there with her brother. You know, and I thought I'd take off with it. But anyway, I got back here, and I popped up on the porch. Well, when I first went down, I had to go down 3 or 4 times. She was in town with her mama, I believe. She drove to town, and her daddy said her mom was in town. So I did finally make it back down there, and she was there. And I took her out when we went to drive-in movie, and my daddy-in-law, my future daddy-in-law, he was getting in the last of his corn crop. And I don't know how a young boy do it now, try to get in points for who might want to marry the daughter, you know. And anyway, I wasn't, just got out of the Air Force, wasn't doing anything, we didn't have a job, job's pretty scary. I told him I'd heading full of corn. And I reckon, I guess it worked, he agreed to let me have it. So, I guess I got enough points.
Got enough points in
the Yeah, but here's the funny thing. That was the fall of '59, and in the fall of '60, he had purchased him a corn picker. So apparently, he figured I wasn't going to help him again.
Wasn't going to help him all the time.
Or I didn't do a good enough job, but I must have done a good enough job to.
Got us down.
Yeah. And anyway, we was coming out of the field down here, just right across the road down here in the bottom, with a load of corn. He had a tractor and almost all the implements at that time, but he was using his mule Tobinator for the wagon. And we was coming out with a load of corn almost night, come out down here for the hill. And at that time, rewind thing, for 52 years back in '59. He pointed across the road over. At that time, there was a plum thicket, a wild plum thicket there. And he said that's where the Hines brothers had their air crash and killed both of them.
Well, tell us what about that.
Well, okay, that had always stuck in my mind when he told me that, but, you know, as years went on, it sort of slipped away. But Nancy answered a query on the internet that this girl in Atlanta, Georgia, was wanting to get back in contact with somebody, her kin people up here. Her grandpa was buried over here at Pine Grove. And to come to find out, her grandpa was a good friend of the Hines brothers, and she come up, her and her dad and her hubby, and I think Charlton was at one time. And they pulled out a picture of one of the Hines brothers and Roy Carl. I've got that picture here somewhere, but anyway, that dawned on me, they wanted to know did I know anything about it. Well, that resurrected memories of this was about 2000, about 40 years prior. I said, that happened across the road down here. And she had that picture come out in the Southern Sentinel, and it said Malden Studios. And I took it up there to Smiley Malden, the juror up there. And he said, yeah, he said, I knew them. I said, I was young that time. It was in 1930. It was July the 13th, 1930. They had that crash down here, and they had it on takeoff. The whole thing's here out of the Sentinel. But anyway, they had rented the airplane out of Memphis, and they advised them not to fly that day. The atmospheric pressure was so that that was in the early days of aviation, and I guess a lot of understanding really the secret of powered flight. But anyway, they advised them it'd be better off not to fly because of the lift. Well, they did crash on takeoff. Some of the spectators said that might have got 75 feet in the air and just went down, you know. It killed one of them instantly, and the one that lived, Roy Carnell, one of the ones that was friends with him, he got him in his car and started to Memphis, but he died before he got there, you know. And
now it was right over here.
right,
The airport now is out
well,
the other side of town.
right down at the foot, right in front of the house is what's called Palmer Road. Okay, you get down there at the bottom of the junction, go back to the left, it's Shady Grove Road, and if you go to the right, it's Blue Mountain Road. Well, back then, Blue Mountain Road, there wasn't no Palmer, Blue Mountain Road just circled around and went on back to Blue Mountain. Shady Grove Road just took up there and went on to Shady Grove. This was before Highway 4 was built. And you go down at the bottom of the hill, cross that little creek, and it's just right over on your left. It's in pines now. And we, like I said, there's a plum thicket there in 59, and later they cleared it out. It was a field, and it was using that for airport, combination airport and golf, for driving around. And before they got them pines there, you could see number 4 up there. It was a pretty long strip. And anyway, that's the story of the Hines brothers. If you, they both buried up here in Ripley Cemetery. And I looked at some of the pallbearers, and there's business people town like Cliff Giles, Sam Clayton, Brian Bennett, the old TV man, Roy Hall. Anyway, a lot of the people I remember being in business up here, and they can remember, was pallbearers. And on November the 18th of 1945, we had a twin-engine plane crash over here in Benton County, killed 5. It was a military plane. And in May of 1951, we had a crash at Blue Mountain that killed two there. And it was taken off, and from what the eyewitness said, it caught a pine tree. And there's another thing, that day, the air wasn't where it's supposed to be, you know, for enough lift.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you know where Street's place is, they said the plane actually went down and burned where Street's place is there.
I'm very far from it. I remember that.
You remember that made in May of 51, I believe May the 20th. It was a Jernigan. He was an old Air Force pilot in World War II. He buried at Academy, and I forget the name of the other one that was in there with him. He was a brother-in-law to him anyway. And here not too many years ago up y'all's way, that Meadowback helicopter went down
Yeah.
the way, you know.
Yeah, it did.
And that was weather related, I think, the one that did that.
You know, it truly is not, that hadn't changed. Airplanes, it seems like every so often there's one crashes in this area. You know, it wasn't too awful far from here, not too awful long ago.
Well, John
Where
Lewis
Mr.
Fareed
Fareed,
had one that passed
Oh,
that.
now he's okay,
Yeah.
but now, at the time of the airing of this film, it will be, it'll be a while, but just recently. And now he was taken to the med, but I understand that he's okay.
He's gonna be okay,
Uh-huh. I would think an airplane crash, would be fatal. And it
Well,
not necessarily.
you think most, especially big airliners, but you take these small planes, a real skilled pilot can, especially a single engine skilled pilot, good visibility. If he can pick him out of a cornfield or a cotton field, lots of times they can go in and walk away.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll flip the bottom side up or something,
But it just flying just sounds dangerous to me.
Well, so many people take, it's just like that in another one we had over in Temple Bottom back in the late 80s. That and his man and wife from Memphis.
I remember
There's
that.
a video on
I
that.
remember that.
That was weather related. They had done begged them not to leave
Not to
the
go.
airport Depot.
Yeah.
And the story was, he was familiar with the Ripley Airport. He passed right over the New Albany Airport, but he wasn't familiar with it. He's trying to make it, that's what they think, he's trying to make it to the Ripley, over the Ripley Airport. Of course, the direction he was going, he was coming right toward him.
Sometimes we're too brave, aren't we?
Yeah.
Just too brave.
See, he had to get
Not
back,
much
he got
chance.
an exam the next morning,
Uh-huh.
where he was called, he was gonna take some kind of examination.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife bet, not only the authorities down there, but his wife begged him to,
But there's a Johnson McGill Airport out the other side of town, ain't there?
Yeah, that's the one he was trying to get to.
Yeah. How long has it been there? Do you know?
It's probably 30 years,
Yeah,
a bit of 30.
I remember when they first started that airport, the people that used to run a little store out Highway 4 East across there. The Johnsons, started the airport, and Roy Joe Norton, I used to ride with him some. He had a little coupe,
I know,
and it was just a narrow strip down through there at the time.
but I'll tell you the strip, the only time Nancy's been up in an airplane, Price Johnson, he cut meat. He worked for Griffin up here, E.W. James, and he'd been a pilot. He was a pilot in World War II. He was shot down over Holland, and anyway, he bailed out and everything. They didn't hurt him. He wound up as a prisoner of war. But anyway, he was over here at a little dirt strip right over here where Ormond Lane goes into where that little garage is over there.
And that's where the Johnsons
Started off.
started off.
There's a little dirt strip, and right at the end of it, there was some pines. And Price, we got on there, and he started. The wind was blowing where he going into it, And the man, he just barely did clear them pines, Went on over, and I knew enough about. I'm not a pilot, but I could look and see how high it was and all that out there.
Wouldn't high enough suit.
He got up over Ripley, about 4,000 feet, and he kept pulling back on that throttle. I knew what was freaking out. It's freaking stalled. That thing stalled, and it just went that nose over just like a rock, and started going straight down toward that courthouse. And I told him, man, I said, I knew what you'd done, and I figured you knew how to get out of it. You wouldn't do it. But anyway, I guess he fell about 1,000 feet. So we saved her, and he wanted to know if we want to turn a flip. I said, no, I don't want to turn no flip. But anyway, I got Nancy. We married on July the 16th, 1960. At Farmer Church. We didn't have a big wedding. We didn't have no cake or reception, nothing. We just had the necessities of the license and the preacher reciting what he had to say. And last year, the 50th anniversary, the preacher still living. We went back. He lived down out West Union School now. And we went to his house, still in good health, more spry than I am. He's in his 80s. But anyway, me and her got in there with him, and we tried to get him the same I carried the picture that made down there when we got married. And it liked, I guess, about 3 hours, being exactly 50 years. We got there 3 hours early. It would wait another 3 hours, it would have been exactly an hour of 50 years. And we had that picture made, and I don't know, I can't tell I've changed a lot myself. Nancy says she has. She only weighed 98 pounds when we got married. But anyway,
she's healthier now.
Yeah. Anyway, the 51st is coming up here next month. If we are still around.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And we have one child.
Blessed.
One child, Gary Hugh Welch. He was born the 6th day of January, 1962. And he's going on 50 years old. We'll be in 12, be 50 years old. And got 2 grown grandkids. Micah, he's in the Mississippi National Guard. I think if we can go to Afghanistan here maybe in October. Got a granddaughter. She turned 17 yesterday. She's going to be a senior at Pine Grove High School. And our son's marriage didn't quite turn out like ours, He's in his 3rd marriage, but I think he's already cooked his goods now. I don't think there's no getting out of this. And anyway, he brought us 2 more grandkids, twin girls, and they'll be 4 years old the 2nd day of August. And the demolitionists every time we come here, they entire place.
I bet. But that's the way to go, though. Twins, get it done.
Yeah, get it done.
I wasn't that smart. Just get it done.
But anyway, then we inherited 2 grandsons. And so we just think just as much of them as we do.
Isn't that wonderful? Wonderful.
And we're still on good terms with the 2 previous daughter-in-laws.
That's good.
Their husbands do anything in the world
That's
for us.
right. That's right.
I can't see some of these people life too short to
Fuss and fight.
fuss and fight.
Yes, it is. It is. I tell you, I don't understand. And they can't remember the next day what it was they're fighting over, so why bother?
Yeah. We've had our ups and downs. We've never had got physical.
No, nobody agrees on everything, but no need in fighting over it, because you're not gonna remember the next day anyway.
They never have and never will.
No.
It don't matter who you get in there as a politician, it ain't gonna suit somebody.
That's right, absolutely. But you've been here in this house for a long time, haven't you?
We built here in the summer of 1967. And this is part of my daddy-in-law and mom-in-law's place. He had 80 acres here, I believe, and originally gave all the children an acre apiece to build on. And when the land was about divided up, we got a little more out back.
Oh, that's a beautiful home.
Well, it probably lasts us. I went and got me new dentures the other day.
You did?
She gave them to me for my anniversary, and they laid them out. They had the 3 prices, and they all looked just alike.
Yeah, they did.
And I said, well, what's the difference between this middle price and this top of the line? About the only difference, the nurse said, is the wire on the teeth. I said, well, my last set's done me 30 years, and I don't think I'll get that high. I think this middle one's probably right.
Last long enough.
This ain't part of old times here, but I was reading, and do you know that any given time, you may not want nothing like this on there, at any given time, day or night, there's at least 2,000 severe thunderstorms going on somewhere in the world.
I bet it is.
And also, at any given time, day or night, Bonanza is playing to being telecast somewhere in the world.
You're kidding.
That's right.
My land.
And let's see, there was something else. Honey never spoiled. When they went into King Tut's tomb, over 3,000 years when they got in there. He had honey for his afterlife. He hadn't used any yet.
Oh, no. Probably not.
But anyway, they had it sealed up in them old stone jugs,
Uh-huh.
and light couldn't get to it, air couldn't get to it. And the old Egyptian that was telling about it said if you poured some of it out in a plate and put it in butter and got a hot biscuit, it'd been just like you got it out of the hive.
Ah,
It
no,
never spoiled.
Hey, you know, there was something you was telling me one time that was interesting about ketchup too.
The ketchup, I read, or this might have been on a program about tomatoes, but anyway, ketchup was originally made for diarrhea, and I don't know where it worked, but they didn't say where it worked, that not, but people got to dip in different things in it, and it become industry all its own, you know.
Isn't that something?
But for a while, as I understand it, it was marketed for that purpose, right. And,
you know, it's odd the way if you look up history on stuff, that the way things have turned out changed, or maybe they didn't change. I don't think it ever did. I don't think it would be a good remedy for that, but
I still like it on a French fry.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I can't see it as a medicine.
No.
But now I understand that Coca-Cola had junk in it
It
at one
had,
time.
it had cocaine, and
It was the real thing. and
it
you
was
had
a
a
real
good
macaw.
feeling.
It was a real macaw, right? And
Well, it did. It was.
Yeah.
It said real. It was real.
Cocaine, yeah. But they passed a law where it had to be took out or something.
But there's a lot of things that I didn't. A man told me the other day that Lucky Strike cigarettes came in a green package, and they needed the green dye for the war, you know, uniforms and stuff. And then they started putting them in white. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things like that.
White and red.
White and red.
Yeah, that sounds like.
Remember the big round?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just things that happened that were just odd, just different stuff. And it's just interesting to me. I like to look that stuff up because it's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
You
I like
reckon they're gonna take caffeine out of coffee?
Well,
Well,
they
already
make
you
it
can get it
decaf.
that way, but they're saying now decaffeinated coffee can actually be more detrimental to your health than the caffeine because it won't let the cholesterol move on out of your system. It'll help build cholesterol up.
I don't know anything that's really good for us.
Well, let's see. Two more things. You know what the two bad spiders we got here in Mississippi? The black widow and the brown recluse.
Yes.
Okay, there's another one that I didn't know this, and where I got this information from, I believe it's true. The old granddad, we call him Granddaddy Longlegs, he is the most poisonous thing ever, but he ain't got nothing to deliver it with.
Oh,
Well,
we got them. Oh.
Yeah, and if he could buy, if he had somewhere to put that stuff in you, let's say it'd be just about like that old coil snake down in the piney wood. You won't have time to say no prayer, or you better always have them say it.
Oh, man. But
Well,
now,
I had a worm to back me here a while back. I found in the house on the phone.
There was one of them 1,000 legs, had a lot of legs on it.
My thumb swelled up twice as big. I don't have
Yeah.
I played with them all my life.
I've heard that whoever nailed you, that they had a little venom.
Well, they did that.
We didn't know they would bite.
Well, I never did have one to bite, and
Toad sure did.
I've sure touched plenty of them.
I said, well, it must be a guy thing. It ain't gonna bite me because I ain't touching them. I does not. But now, back to things that have changed. I remember when our babies were small, they had the colic. We gave them Paragard.
Paragard, that wasn't no controlled, that opium, man, the drug opium, and it worked.
I know they acted like they felt good, didn't they?
Yeah. You know, these old men, they'd go and buy them a big bottle of that and go drink it, you know. I don't know if we're giving any more of a sensation than a pint of good liquor or not, but that opium, man, it's a potent drug.
It is, and it's terrible, and we used to put 10 drops in that baby bottle, they'd just sleep, and
Yeah.
they'd be so happy. And I reckon they were.
Yeah, it's good for cramping. I don't know where you can get the cure. Some of the doctors got the issue, and I don't think you can get it just like we used to get it. You know, it'll be in another mixture, but it can have some of it in it, you know, for the colic and cramps, you know.
I don't know if you can get it at all anymore.
I think
Some of that stuff is history, things like, remember they used to take black drop. It was just like dirt in a box looking to me. I don't know. My mother-in-law used to use black drop. You don't ever see black drop anymore.
No, I imagine that box, come in little boxes.
Yeah,
That's a collector's item now. I mean,
I bet
you
it
probably
is.
go on eBay, you could make
I
up
bet
that
it is.
$25 for one.
Yeah, I bet it
Maybe
is.
more.
I bet it is. But a lot of the old medicines, and now everything's in a plastic bottle.
Yeah,
Plastic, not glass.
Yeah.
Over the years, things have just changed. Our way of life has changed. What we do and what we expect, how we travel, and where we want to go has changed. You look back at a sharecropper's son, which you were, you never thought about going to these tourist places. You know.
No.
You just wanted to go to town once a month.
Well, I got to go down a little more than
Did you?
once a month. I usually didn't have any money, not getting enough to get in the Dixie Theater. You got in the Dixie Theater for 10 cents up until you turned over 12 years old. And I kept going, getting in for a dime, and I done got in a dime several times after I turned 13, and I called my hand one day. I had to order another nickel or something yesterday, was it 15 cents or 20 cents? I can't remember, they called my
I
name.
remember the 10 cents.
But anyway, I've got a lot of tales that actually, it couldn't be told. It'd be telecast, you know.
Better let that alone. The Dixie Theater used to be on the corner, isn't there a law office or something?
Yeah,
I remember when that
the
bar.
law office or
Man, Cliff Child.
CPA, yeah, right on the corner was Mr. Cliff Child Drugstore. Then right next to it was the Dixie Theater. Right next to it was a beauty salon, and right next to it was Crawford and Bennett's TV repair place. And the old big building where Bradshaw got later was Tip Electric's first wire house.
Then the last one on the end down there was Walter Turner.
Walter Turner, you know, at a little place there on
TV shop for Crawford's TV.
yeah, down on that end, and up on this end toward the theater, Odd Barkley had a little old place in there. He sold snuff and tobacco and stuff. You know. And
Now that movie theater had a basement. Was there not a beauty shop in there too?
there was
Something.
that on down the hill down
It's
there.
on the left side next to the street going down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I think there was a couple of
And,
ladies worked in there years ago. I know several years ago, Frankie Gillard had a shop in there and I worked for him. And of course, that was not too awful many years before it burned, you know, just not long before it burned.
And Tip Electric's first office was where down that street where Fay Reed was, down there, a little hole in the wall down there, and the warehouse was there where we were talking about. They had a dirt floor in there, you know, Bradshaw, with his welding shop. The fellow's name, Juice Gurney was head of that. I don't know what his first name was. You remember what his first? They called him Juice cause,
Little bitty fella.
yeah, little old bitty fella, but right after World War II, they got the string in the electric line through the county. It wasn't none out in the county, but they weren't along the road, the highways like 370 at the Dumas Road or 4 wherever. And if you lived off the road, you just might not get hooked up for a long time. They'd always hook, if they get their house wired, they'd get them hooked up that's right on the road. Well, there was 3 houses that we lived in that the landlord wired that never was hooked up. But we had a light bulb top of the house. It wouldn't burn, you know. It didn't put about one receptacle in each room, and let's see.
I remember when there was water to our yard, but not in our house. And, we hooked a hose to it and some kind of way fixed a faucet on it and set a chair under it with a bucket. But we had water in the house.
Yeah, you did.
We did.
Yeah, and, take what's the first air conditioning business you think of up there, in town on the.
Chrysler, yeah.
I mean, what business?
It had air conditioning.
If you could walk in this time of year and feel good.
I would probably say it would be, you remember the Kroger store Dickinson used to have there? It was either it or the drugstore next to it.
Yeah, there's several of them right along close together. The first one I can remember was Nowhere to Wit, right there on the corner, across from the Rexall drugstore.
Yeah.
And like you say, the drugstore, and now old man Ladner down on in, he had them high ceilings, them old fans. There's a lot of them old buildings, had them, fans like this, except it's real high and it come down on a stem, but,
Yeah.
and, I don't know, I don't think Ladner ever
I never
back
did.
in these days.
We used to go to Ladner's a lot. Dad did.
Yeah.
I used to sit around there in the back door waiting on the theater to open.
Yeah, and,
They never had air, not that I knew of.
and I remember when the, Dixie Theater first got there, man, that get in there for a dime, it's worth this to get in there.
True.
If you didn't even like the movie, you know.
True.
And,
I used to watch cartoons, you know, they have a cartoon back then.
they had a cartoon and had what they call a serial.
Yeah.
It went from week to week. If you missed a week, it's just like the soap opera, which I don't watch.
Kept you coming.
But you know, it just continued from week to week. Like with the Sky King, I can't remember who all it was. But anyway, did you ever get in on? You know, on Saturday in Ripley, you couldn't hardly walk. You're bumping
That's
into
what I was
somebody.
gonna ask you a while ago, what happened to all the teenagers that used to go down on Saturdays and you could drive around the courthouse.
Right. But I don't know where they go now. They ain't got much place to go. But anyway, two of you get together, and you know, all four corners of the square, there'd be people going across. I mean, just going around, some going this way, you know. And two of you get together and start looking up and start pointing. It wouldn't be nothing up there, everybody else just looking.
On the square.
Everybody just looking, and you just back off and laugh.
Y'all was mean.
I remember along in front of Mr. Nancy's old store, you know, that funeral home in that one.
Yeah.
But all us, we used to gather around over there, and a lot of the old folks did with their knife and whittling stick. They had them little bars down the front.
Yeah.
I guess keep from mashing the windows in or something.
Yeah, and
There'd be people out there.
You know,
Well, I wanna know, I've noticed all of these stores have a upstairs. Now, I've been at the Grapevine and you go up there and it's real nice. But why do they have the upstairs?
okay, I'll tell you a few places where you take Dr. Johnson, old dentist. He was upstairs over R.B. Smith, I guess, or
Yeah,
over there
yeah.
somewhere.
I remember him.
And old Dr. Street, he was over on the other side of Nancy down there upstairs. And before our time, Dr. Adams was up over Fay Reed's. I was before my time. Charlie Nance told me all this, and the health department used to be up years ago up one of them, and law offices, Pegram and Roden, and
I used to hate to see Miss Coombs come to the school house, because I know what's in that shot day.
I remember they used to come
Yeah.
to the school and give shots.
yeah,
I sure did.
yeah. It's magic. Roll Bell Coons. I know when I cut my finger off in 1943, Dr. Tate's office was on North Main there, about close to where Western Auto used to be there, you know, in there. And Roll Bell Coons and Dr. Tate gave me a dime a piece. I was the richest little old boy in town, that guy. They had to take it, clip it off, you know, at that time, just like a scissors, and cut it off and wrap it up. And I had me 20 cents. I didn't have no finger right on
That's why you had to let it cut off another one. Oh, that's on your right hand too, isn't it?
And you remember Mr. Steve Crawford had the buggy there at sold peanuts right next to Ladner's or right just west across the street from
That's
the
where the monument used
No, he was the Dixie Theater. He sat over next to Ladner's. He could see all up Commerce Street and the side of the courthouse and all that like that. And he had what's called Jake leg. He was paralyzed from the waist down.
That was when the child is, let's see, that was when the child, you know, had that feed store and little, what was it, hardware store?
Yeah.
Anything,
Yeah, old Steve, he drank some of that Jake. It was a rum. It was during probation, and it had some contaminants in it. And if you see the story on TV, it happened in the 1920s. Well, during probation, 1920s, was most all the original probation. It's a Jamaican rum. It comes from Jamaica, and if you drank it and got dog drunk on it and went to bed, you didn't come out of it. You'd be paralyzed from the waist down. And all up in East Tennessee and up in there, it's doctors, lawyers, preachers, and everything wound up in wheelchairs. And anyway, Mr. Crawford, he sold peanuts, and his wife would come. He lived up there about where the hospital is located now. And his wife would come down with him early in the morning and take the horse back home, and she'd bring the horse back and get him. And that was the headquarters for the news. These old men would get in town, and they'd check in with Steve. And anybody coming around won't know if anybody's in town. They went to the buggy, and he was by here. He about here about 30 minutes ago. You know, they didn't know he was in town. You know, if it was somebody. And he witnessed fights. He witnessed my daddy and his brother-in-law having a fight over in front of A.C. Dickerson's furniture store, and he said, "Old punk, you'd be coming around there with that old big truck and blocked his view." And he said, "He give old punk a cussing."
You know, long years ago, if two guys got in a fight, they fought it out and it was over. Now they go to jail. I don't know. Why, they get out there, they have a little scuffle, next day they're friends. You know, but now they're in jail, they can't be friends. They're in jail. Different world.
Dad and when he's fighting with both of them, that's when Sam Ford had the sheriff's office over where the tax assessor is, where Shackford is now, you know, and he was a tax collector and all that, sheriff was, you know, at that time.
You driver's license.
Yeah.
You did? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a whole lot. I know when I come to town with Mama, a lot of times I come with myself, but they'd have that old window raised there, and there'd be Sheriff Ford sitting in there, and she'd get me and say, "You see that fella right there, that's the sheriff, that's Sam Ford." Said, "You better be a good little boy. He'll get you and take you down there and put you in that jail."
That is bad.
And they used to have a night watchman. Ripley didn't have a whole lot of cops back in the 40s. You know, in the early 50s, a night watchman by the name of
He lived over there, so Mr. Ezra James.
well, yeah, that and two. I'm thinking of Ike Cheekwood.
Yeah.
He lived way back over in
I've
there.
heard of him.
He was before Walter Mays. Walter Mays. And I know when my second sister was born in that little hospital where Dixon it is now, down there, they had 2 or 3 beds up there. And I was up there that night, and the first Coke machine, for the first automatic Coke machine you put a nickel in, was down there on the corner right across from Renfro's Cafe. It was a little service station. It was a little, on some gas station somewhere right there on the corner. And that was the first Coke machine I seen.
Right behind the old bank right there.
Yeah.
Bud Huddleston was the first person that I remember running that, and maybe, I believe it was pure oil. You remember Mr. Taft, or it was pure oil or standard, because
Okay.
I think that's all it was in Ripley back then.
Yeah, I do.
Mr. Roy the taps had to, you know, fill oil, I believe.
Yeah, and, she told me I better be good. She finally let me go down there and walk around outside. She'd be good a white cheek would. He'll have you in down there in that jail where the sound forward keeps his face. But anyway, that Coke machine, it was the first generation, and it took a nickel. You put a nickel in it, and you raised the door up, and when that nickel went in there, it went onto some kind of cam where it would lock onto a big carousel in that thing. It held the Coke. That would move that carousel when you lifted that door. Pretty. You remember lifting them, and it wasn't easy to do. You know, a kid had to strain pretty good. But once you got that Coke out and you let it back down, you couldn't open it again until you put a nickel in it. It locked.
You know, I remember I went to see my aunt in Missouri, and in the basement, she had a Coke machine that said 3 cents. 3 cents. Yeah. They had that in that basement. It was from my uncle had a service station. Of course, this was in Missouri, and it came from his service station. Back, I ain't gonna tell how old that thing was. Still had the lock. She used it. She said I keep my water and stuff in it.
Well, you know, when I was growing up, I don't know about Tate, my chief mode of getting around transportation was hitchhiking.
Mm-hmm.
My dad didn't get a 42 pickup, 42 Chevrolet pickup in 1953. And he didn't get his driver's license by the time I got mine. That's the truth. And anyway, I had that old thing. If I hadn't been me, the old thing, I don't think would have ever made much running, because you got a universal joint, go out and go see a Leland Fire and get a used universal joint or clutch, pressure play, something, you know. And I kept it going, but after I went in the Air Force, I've been all over the Southeast hitchhiking, and back in there, you could beat the bus.
Well, it wasn't dangerous.
It wasn't as dangerous.
People were just focused,
Right.
you know.
So,
Now-
down the road, they can help if you want to, but.
Well, yeah. I remember we used to ride our bikes, and Daddy'd say, don't worry.
Yeah.
They may get you come dark, you know, come morning, they'll let you loose. That's what it's for.
And even before I went in the Air Force, my friend Lawrence Catfish Lawler, where y'all know him.
Yeah, I do. Yes,
He's
I do.
Attend church down where we go to church, and me and him, we never had been nowhere. I'd been to Memphis in 1947. My daddy said we'd get a good crop out, have a good crop. We all of us gonna go to Memphis. And went down there and spent the night in a bus station. Didn't get no hotel. There wasn't a motel, there was a hotel, King Cotton Hotel, Peabody Hotel, or Hotel Chester. But anyway, the restrooms had you had to put a nickel, I believe it was a nickel or a dime in them before they'd open. And I was little then, and man, I crawled under that thing. I crawled under that thing and unlocked it, man, they'd give me, man, I'd make it. I guess that was my first,
First job.
first job I really got paid for on the spot, you know. But anyway, they didn't line up waiting on me to roll under, you know.
They had them in bus stations and everything.
Yeah, bus had them a lot of places, you know. and me and old Lawrence Lawler hitchhiked to Memphis one time in '54, and we decided we wanted. It was on Saturday, and we wanted to go up on top of the Sterrett building. At that time, the Sterrett building was the tallest building in Memphis. I don't know where it stands now, but we wanted to say that we'd been on top of the highest building in Memphis.
Yeah.
We got up in there and got on the elevator and went up as far as it go and got out, and we knew we wanted to get out. We'd heard you could actually get out on top of it. And we was walking up the stairs there, and there's some kind of door you pushed up, and about that time security come up and called us. Won't know what we doing in there.
I bet.
And we told them we down in Mississippi, and you know, we'd always heard about the Sterrett building, and we wanted to say, well, you boys got to get out of here, so. It didn't lock us up or nothing, but anyway.
Oh, you probably done good. Now they probably lock you up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they would.
would accuse you of going to be a terrorist or something.
You know, it's strange. Back years ago, there were Halloween pranks, and kids would get out and do silly stuff, you know, and everybody laughed about it. And if they broke something, then they come over and there too, and they usually fixed it, you know, if they messed your yard up or whatever. It was fun, but now it's crime.
Yeah,
It's crime.
yeah.
A lot of the things that, you know, you see people in trouble for now used to just everybody laugh about. You know, it was a big deal back then. You slip in somebody's watermelon patch to get a watermelon.
Oh, I've been in that a lot of times.
Yeah, most of the time they watched you through the window. They knew it. They cared.
Yeah, most people didn't care if you didn't go in there and tear it up, you know.
Yeah,
Some people just, you look at that film showed you on that watermelon, I was only shot at one time and missed him, and old James Graham Henry said he just shot at him, he got dead cough one time.
But you know, used to the kids didn't tear stuff up. They just go in and get them a watermelon and go out, or go to the corn patch, get them some corn, and they'd leave. And they, you know, they didn't tear up stuff like they do now.
Well,
If I broke something, it was
the time
accidental.
that I got caught up was people lived about 2 houses down from us, and my father was a minister. And I got caught. It was late at night, probably towards 12 o'clock, but anyway, they made me carry the watermelon with me and walk all the way back home with them, and told Daddy, and that's what I was.
Yeah. Yeah, don't tell on me. Baby, don't tell on me.
Well, I heard one time, this watermelon patch, the owner of the patch put up a big old sign that said there's one poison watermelon in this patch. And somebody come back in there and put another sign up and said, now there's two.
I know.
Oh.
Oh, you know, Milton, this has been fun, and we're walking up on time. I'm so glad that we got to come over here and visit, and I appreciate this so much, and I'm glad that y'all got to come visit with us. This is Daryl Jeter with Daryl's Little Corner. Y'all be sure and tune in for the Jeter Family Program at 7 o'clock on Saturday night. And I hope that y'all tune us in again next Monday at 7, and may God bless.